everyone, welcome to today's Everything Digital. My name is Faith History, your hostess with the mostest. And as always, we'll be bringing you every single thing that is digital in your world today. And this time, we are going to be talking about digital storytelling as an educational tool. And to join me to have that conversation, I'm introducing my lovely guest, Tonye Faloughi-Ekezie.
Hello.
You know, there's an H in your maiden name. So I'm always like trying to figure out how to pronounce it, But it's been a while, girl. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks
Looking amazing after all these years. Mother of two, and still fly, and still very pink.
Well, the young ones are making us work for it.
I'm telling you.
I have a fine husband. I have to make sure things are okay.
Thank you. Because when they're asking, please, auntie, go and sit down. I say, for who? Should I sit down for you? I'm not sitting down for you, so don't sit down for me. Let us all stand. Anyway,
we digress. Sorry.
And today, I wanted to talk about, digital storytelling, right? So I go digging, and typically what we do is, you do your research. So we found something on the web, which was your ebook, and found that on the Google Play Store. First, I heard about it through a post that you did, and I went and dug it up, and I was excited because the story is different from what we used to hearing, right? So it's a storybook for kids and parents, of course, because you're reading to your kids. Hopefully, you should be reading to your kids. And it just talks about disability, which is a topic that a lot of Nigerians don't talk about. Kids with disabilities or special needs, we're like, don't go there. We'll pray about it. And then
put it to the back.
Send
it to the village.
To the village. We don't want to talk about it. And here you go. Not only do you make a book and write a book about it, you produce this whole thing using your media outfit, T-Off Media. Brilliant, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
But you also make it digital, which makes it accessible to everybody in the world, right? Accessible to everyone in the world. And I think that's brilliant. So well done on that.
Thank you.
Now, so let's talk about what was the reason why? What was your reason why?
Well, it's really just the personal journey that we went on, because I have a daughter with Down syndrome who is now 4 years old. And it's through the journey we had with that. We almost lost her when she was a baby because her diagnosis didn't come at birth. I didn't have the diagnosis when I was pregnant. So it was about 4.5 months when she got the diagnosis, and she was in heart failure by that time.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we had to do all this open heart surgeries, and it took her...
And it's because of...
the Down syndrome. So Down syndrome, there's a 60% chance of a congenital heart defect. They shorten it, we just say CHD. There's all this language now, I know. But usually it's minor. It can be fixed with medication. It doesn't usually have to have such a complicated surgery.
If you know on time.
If you know on time, exactly. Because she didn't show really any of the obvious symptoms of being a Down's child or a baby with Down syndrome, the effect was kind of devastating. So she was given about 6 months to live if we didn't do anything. So we just went into gear. So it was about a 3-year journey of just our life change, getting her better. I still have an older child, so having to, make sure he was okay as well, and a husband. But in the end, we came out of it, and we came back in 2018. And I was a bit lost, just trying to find my feet. But I've always been someone who was a proponent of reading. Reading is really important. Although I've personally kind of slacked off it recently myself, I believe that in children, you need to get them engaged in books. And she loved books from the moment she was born. When we were in hospital, all kinds of books. She sees a book, she's going
engaged,
to the book.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So my son, also, I kind of trained like that. And I was struggling to find books that had Black children, let alone struggling anything that could explain Down syndrome to him as her older sibling at 4 years old. And if I did, it was only one book. It didn't have a continuation of characters. So in my frustration, I said, you know what, let me just write this story about the conversation I had with my son, because I can't be the only one going through this
and having to have this conversation.
Having to have this conversation that my son asked me was like, he was just so, what a 4-year-old is just
so
mad.
Open.
No, he was just so frustrated, and he couldn't understand why I would not allow him go in with a therapist, because he didn't know they're therapists. He just thought these cool people come and play with her every day. And I'm like, and he's like, Mom, why don't I get to play? It's so unfair.
Right.
So I now had to explain to him, because he doesn't think that there's anything the matter with his sister. There isn't. She just has a diagnosis of Down syndrome. So explaining to him, and I was struggling because trying to explain genes and chromosomes and all that.
How do I break this down for a 4-year-old?
Exactly.
To understand? Got it.
So that's where it all germinated.
It's really documenting like your journey and a conversation between you and your son.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess then what prepared you for the storytelling was all these years of information.
It's amazing how God works, because my background, as you know, is in film and television, in production as a content producer, commissioning editor, so as a line producer. So it was like at the place where I didn't have an identity at the time. I'd lost myself. I just became this person who was just trying to hold everything together, make sure a daughter survived, make sure, we could pay medical bills, and
that must have been
I was
tough.
gone,
That must have been tough.
Oh, yeah.
Because to be honest, I didn't know what had happened to you. I just figured that you had moved out of the country. You're like, I'm out of Nigeria. See you guys later. I didn't know that you're actually having your whole life. You had
life
to
changed completely.
Redesign your life, you know?
So in that kind of settling down of everybody else being okay, I was not okay. Mentally, I was just done. I was lost. I was... my memory was full.
Was this in 2018 when you came back to Nigeria? Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So now you're back home and you're like, where do I fit back in?
Yeah. Where's my space? Where's my place? I don't want to go back to doing what I was doing. It has no meaning to me. It doesn't mean anything. If I passed today, what would I have changed? So those were the kind of things that were going through my head, because it really changed my life. And I'm like, if I'm going to do anything, it has to have some value.
Meaning.
And some meaning.
Bigger than myself,
exactly.
Right? Which God had kind of put you in that space.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It's
sometimes
amazing.
Though, that you get put into the space and he knows you can handle it and you can use it, to tell the story and educate other people. Yeah. So apart from this book, are there any other methods that you've used? Because I see that there's a YouTube community. There are other digital methods that you're using to bring together awareness.
So when I moved back, and then it was as this story was developing, and I was just writing. And so now I've written 13, and we're about to publish book 2, book 3.
Wow.
And a board
13
book.
Of these books.
Yes.
Amazing.
I know. And we're animating the first one into a cartoon series.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's, people were a little taken aback about how open I was to talk about it.
Right.
Because they're like, I've never heard anybody talk it doesn't bother you. I'm like, no, this I'm so proud of her. I'm so, this journey is so amazing. I need people to understand the truth that I'm living, not the myth that's out there. Exactly. And with people I was meeting, they were, you've got to talk to other people. You've got to do something, because what I've learned from you in 20 minutes of this conversation I have been searching for. Yeah.
Right, my whole entire life.
Exactly. So there was a friend of mine who I didn't even know had a child with Down syndrome, and she spent about an hour and a half with me, and she cried and she cried and she cried because she was going through the same journey at the same time. She had no one to talk to. She had no one to talk to.
No one to understand anyway.
Exactly.
You can talk to people, but do they really understand what you're going through?
So that's what made me say, okay, well, we have this digital arena. Look, even if one person listens, let me try. So I said, okay, well, Ugo and Sim Sim is more of a product. that I'm aiming for at kids, but I need to house that under something where I can include adults and grow a community.
Yes.
So we're doing multiple things. Yes, exactly.
And, you know.
Exactly. So we named it after my daughter Simone, who we also shortened for Sim Sim. And I wanted to be a place of kind of community of nourishment, a safe space. You can ask us anything. Even if we don't know the answer, we'll go and find it for you. So it's called Simone's Oasis.
So now Simone's Oasis, what is it?
So it's two things, I say. So for kids, actually, when I think about it, it's three things. So
I'll add one more.
Yeah, that's just my nature. I just like to overdo. So for the kids, I noticed things that young kids are saying. Even my son is saying.
So do you think you have like a new superpower now? Like where you're just like zoned in and tuned
but
in?
As black kids, I'm like, no, you can't be saying that. Have some pride, we're Africans.
What, like negative things?
Yeah, so the thing about the hair, the thing about the skin color, or they'll say something, but auntie, you're white. And I'm like, am I? Hold up.
Right.
I may be light skinned, but I'm not white. But your skin is so lovely. And these are coming like from 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds.
Little ones.
And I'm like,
and you're like, where are you getting this from? What makes my skin better than your skin in your mind,
So that made me sit up and actually pay attention to what my children are watching and what children are looking at. So we know that with the disruption in media right now, children are mostly consuming on phones and tablets.
Absolutely.
Right?
YouTube, hello.
At least those who have access to, especially YouTube.
Absolutely. And those who don't have access, they're buying DVDs.
Exactly.
DVDs all through the markets,
so it's
through
foreign,
the streets.
It's foreign videos, it's foreign DVDs, it's foreign content. For example, on YouTube, once you watch that, Bounce Patrol, which we love, it will take you to something similar. So if you want to search for black content, you really have to as a parent, find the time and dig for that.
And then
for that
create
content.
your playlist and then have all this curated black content.
So I just felt that, okay, what Nigerian stuff is out there? What African stuff is out there? And I found Bino and Fino, I found Achille and me, and they've been doing some really good stuff in this space. And I started reaching out and chatting with them and everything. But I was like, okay, we need to do something about this.
Yes.
What our children are watching, what our children are seeing. So that is a journey I'm on with Simone's Oasis right now. We're creating other content aside from the Ugwa and Sim Sim stuff. So, for example, Kids Books Review, I'm producing with 3 sisters who are 6, 9, and 12.
Awesome.
Yes, and they read books, so they're encouraging their age mates to read and take a passion, and they're reviewing and talking about these books.
Which makes sense. My 6-year-old came up to me the other day and he's like, hey, Mom, I'm starting a YouTube channel and you're going to set it up. I was like, I am? Okay.
But all that stuff is really important. So a mission of Simone's Oasis is to empower our Black African children. And the best way to do that right now in the world we live in is through media.
In the digital world, yes.
In the digital world. Because you need consistent representation. They need to see people that look like them consistently and people that sound like them consistently. And the messaging. And I want to encourage them to tell their own stories. So it's not just me as an adult saying, okay, you kids need this. I don't want them to be passive. I want them to be active. You can create. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody is perfect. Yes, there can be glitches and sound, video. It doesn't matter. What I realize in watching my children, it doesn't have to be the best quality content.
Right. It just
has to engage them.
And it has to be something that they're passionate about. Yes. They're excited about. Yes. And they get better as time goes on. Okay. So what has the response been like for Simone's Oasis?
Oh my goodness. So for
first of all, Simone's Oasis is the overall brand, but what about the actual book?
Oh, well, so for the Ugo and Sim Sim stuff, I just thought, okay, I'll just do initial 100 copies print run, and I'm not expecting anything, and that's all else.
I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah, so I did another small print run just to kind of continue to test the market, and also because I'm self-financing. So after 3 years of being out and just spending all our savings, money's tight. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? How many can I print? Let's just test the market. And the response has been really good. So I was getting a lot of requests also from diaspora and from random places like Japan, Mexico.
That's amazing.
So that's what spurred me to say, I need to go digital. But because the age range I'm going is from age 0 to 9, the 0 to 5 market is a little different from the 6 to 9 or 5 to 9.
Right, because they're bigger readers.
Yes, exactly. So what you've got is that kids who can't read to emerging readers to individual, independent readers. So the parents' control of the reading kind of reduces as they get older.
Right.
So for the younger ones, the tactile book is so important because there's so many developmental pluses for the tactile book. And as they get to about age 4, they can start going onto the digital. And because I understand that the 4-year-olds might not be able to fully read, I made it interactive. So it has a voice. They tap it,
audio,
the voice comes out. And there's a quiz at the end so that they would have had to pay attention.
Right.
And
so if they didn't, hey, go read it again.
I'm telling you, but there's just something amazing about the feedback I get from the children and the questions they ask. Children are amazing. They ask stuff. So if someone goes to heaven with Down syndrome, will they still have Down syndrome? Can the scientists know how to genetically remove it? It's just so many engaging questions that it was fantastic
really,
to see.
Really smart too. I mean, because as an adult, you think about these questions and then you're like, nah, it's a stupid question. But for kids, no question is stupid. They just want to know.
Just want to know. But even the adults, because I put a glossary at the end of that book, the second one doesn't have a glossary, but the third one does have a glossary because there's stuff like we explain what diesel is. We explain eba and egusi, and just because of things that happened. The culture. So the context is that the Down syndrome is not exceptional. The Down syndrome is just an aspect of our daily life. So it's Ugo and Simpson, brother and sister, living in Lagos, Nigeria, just living their lives. And sometimes they're annoyed with each other, but sometimes they're united to conquer whatever obstacle that story takes. So it's kind of putting that context, because when people start talking about special needs, they think that is the be all and end all of your life.
Absolutely.
And it's just a part of who she is. She's not a Down syndrome child. She's a child with Down syndrome. It's just one aspect. Exactly.
And I love that. And with that, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you some truth questions in our truth serum. Yes, you're going to have to tell the truth. I know you've been telling the truth the whole time, but you don't have to really tell the truth. Dig deep. All right, guys, let's go to a quick break and then we'll be right back. Hey guys, we're right back here. That's what they mean by action. Hey, you are still watching Everything Digital, the show, and we have Tonye Faloughi in the house talking to us about digital storytelling and what she's doing with Simone's Oasis, using the first book in the series, Ugo and Sim, and she's written 13 others. Like, I'm so excited. Excitement. So now let's have some truths from you. All right. So truth serum. Are you a morning person or an owl? Night owl?
I'm actually neither. I'm honestly, it's the weirdest thing. I hate. So
you're happy in the morning? And you're happy.
I think
at
my
night.
brain doesn't start functioning until I exercise. So I usually exercise around 8 o'clock, 8:30. So that already is late. Although I might have gotten up at 5 or 6 because of the kids. So, but I don't consider myself a morning person.
Right. So you don't wake up all chirpy.
Oh no. I don't understand those people.
Let me do some somersaults. I don't know who does that.
No, I don't understand those
I just feel like some people are like that.
But some people
you hear them singing
straight up. They're
very happily in the morning. I'm like, I'm still trying to sleep. I know God is good, but
I'm like a giraffe with a baby giraffe at that time.
You're just like,
yeah.
Okay, all right. And then, how do you protect your mental health?
That is so. It kind of links the question you just asked me with that question. So our home is at 9 p.m. we're a technology-free zone. So, no phones, no tablets.
From 9 p.m.?
From 9 p.m.
Hey, if I tried
So my people know, and my tribe knows that if they send after 9, that is very, very unlikely that I'm going to answer that WhatsApp or call. But if it's emergency, they know to call several times.
Right.
And what that does, it makes sure that once the kids have gone to bed, that I engage with my husband, you know, because days are so...
You guys can gist.
Yeah,
you guys
gist.
Can, you know.
Yeah, you know, Netflix and chill.
Right. Like actually like spend time together. Quality time.
So that's one of the things.
Let's see what's going on with everybody
because
else.
before you know it, you've got a notification and it starts eating into your time. So you need to kind of step back from it.
Up because you saw somebody on your Insta stories and you're like, where are they? Call me.
So that also has a part with mental health, but I've definitely been on a mental health journey through this. I'm still on a mental health journey. And I just think how I manage that is with exercise. If I don't exercise, I feel funny.
So that's your thing. Like you must
exercise. I wouldn't say like I'm hardcore, but I do like 5-6 days a week.
Of what? What do you exercise? How do you exercise? Cardio?
4 days a week at home and then one or two. No, I feel like a hamster in a science lab. I don't understand those bikes or the treadmills and
I don't do stationary.
They don't go anywhere.
I don't do stationary.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm out in the
because you're saying things, but otherwise I feel like someone's experimenting on me.
Right, you're like,
it doesn't. No. So usually in the gym, if I go once, twice a week, I'm doing strength training or HIIT. I do yoga twice a week and then I do like cardio at home, and yoga and cardio I do at home. But yeah, mental health is really important. I listen to podcasts.
That was gonna be my next question. Podcast or music? Like, you have to pick. Or audiobooks.
Why do we have to pick?
I'm just saying, like, someone is telling you to pick one.
I'd have to pick podcasts.
Podcasts? So you're a podcast listener?
Yeah, definitely. That's how I get my Bible readings every day. But also, like, a good friend of mine, Miss Anne Harriman, he's like a Nigerian guy who's become the biggest photographer right now in England. He's photographs of royals, etc. So he's got me back into podcasting and just suggests all these amazing podcasts plus his podcast. But I'm on one called 1619 right now, which is about how the American slave trade started.
Oh, wow.
And then it takes you all through all this Black American history, through the civil rights, through Reconstruction, but it doesn't do it in a linear way. So it's really, really interesting.
It gives you like this overview of this world.
Yeah.
It didn't happen in a linear way. There was a lot of stuff
and just
going
about
on.
The economics of it, that even though slavery was not going on in the UK anymore, that they were still involved in financing because cotton was so lucrative. But it's a brilliant podcast, just stuff like that. But it's kind of...
So even send me your podcast list. Let's share. Yeah. I've got some that I'm listening to that Okay, cool. And spotlights on you next. Okay, so talk to us about the work that you're doing. I mean, you've kind of talked to us about the new work that you're doing at Tee Off Media, but do you have other work that you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a number of projects that I'm doing kind of all at once, and I'm dropping the ball on a couple of them because it's just too much. But
the ball.
I think that, you know, in the music side of things, you know, I'm developing this music for kids. Some of it is covers of nursery rhymes, some of it's original music. Nice. Because having young children is... you get to understand how important music is to their learning and their cognitive development. And it's a real easy way to do that. So that kind of stuff is happening. So we have I'm focusing on the books, the music. But for the adults, it's really about growing this community that we're in and finding a way to access this knowledge, because it's all about access to knowledge. You know, we're blessed in that I can access therapy for my daughter. Right. But I understand that insurance doesn't pay for it. So we have to come out of pocket, and we can't afford it with all the bills, school bills, all the extra things that have to happen to really give your special needs child the advantage of being able to be independent later on in life. So I'm just trying to let everybody know the knowledge I know and share that knowledge,
share that using your
and have access to it, and know that it's not rocket science. Just try and do some of these things, because if you can't afford a therapist, that child is still going to grow. So you still need to invest that time. If, you know, just imagine because
you might need to do it yourself.
Yes, because you have parents who want to be advocates for their children, and they're not financially viable. That's but they have the mentality, you know, they're proactive. Where do they get the knowledge? Right. You know, and they don't have the money
sometimes, and join a community.
So what we've done another thing we're doing currently is we've done a yoga class, Yoga for Change. So Yoga Sutra, I partnered with Yoga Sutra and AskTokes.com. So AskTokes is a behavioral specialist. She's been doing working with special needs children here in Nigeria for the past 14 years.
Nice.
And they also do training for teachers. So I partnered with them, partnered with the Yoga Sutra, and we're holding 2 yoga classes. It's 10K per mat. We sold out the first one. We're almost sold out with the second one. But and people have donated. So we've raised 2 million to train 100 teachers in special needs training.
That's awesome.
Because the government mandated last year that the schools should be inclusive, but they haven't provided funding for the teachers to get training, to know how to deal with these children they're getting in the classroom. So what tends to happen is that even if someone wants to help, they don't know how to. The children get separated, they get set aside, they get neglected. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to wait for anybody. You know, this Nigeria, if you don't have something ready, nobody's interested in talking. So all the projects I've talked about on this show currently, Faith, I've self-funded, or my dad has helped me, or someone has chipped in. My brother has. So I haven't gone to look for sponsorship money. I haven't gone and got investment money. It's just through my hard work and the love of my family and friends. So this is what we're doing with this kind of pilot one, to show this is what anybody can do. We raised 2 million naira. We're going to, over 2 days, teach 100 teachers just in some training, okay, this
from
is
yoga,
from yoga, mental health. So yoga, physical, mental, exercise. Centering yourself.
And people want to be able to help.
Yes,
that's the thing.
Exactly, but they don't know how to help.
So give them away.
Yeah. So I realized that if I was coming in and I didn't have this knowledge, where would I go? So your immediate thing is kind of, okay, I have access to internet, but what if I don't have access to internet?
A lot of people just go to church.
Exactly.
Or mosque and just pray about it.
Exactly. Praying is good, but praying is not the only thing.
Right.
So how do you be active? So I've got to start going out there physically, which is what we're starting, for example, with this teacher training, but also going out digitally and communicate just what I can, and also who else is out there,
and pulling together
community as well. And the funny thing is that I had a meeting yesterday with Bumi Abudarin Talabi. So she's an amazing author, kids book author here in Nigeria, who's just been doing it way before this became my journey. And we had some real talk conversation.
Nice.
And it's understanding that she was so open to share. Nigeria, not everybody's open to share everything. She was really open to share.
Where did you get that?
Yes. And it's an understanding that, for example, she wants to pull us kids writers together. Let's start an association. That's nice. It's kind of this thing. You've got to, things now are about partnership and collaborating. Exactly.
All right. So that's awesome that you're doing all this amazing work. And I just want to say to you that, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you've taken something that would have really broken a lot of people. They would have just been like, God is not on my side. It's over. And you have taken it with the love and help of your family, yourself, and just reaching deep. And you've taken it and you say, I'm going to use this as a blessing to everybody else, not just to my family. And I think we need more people like you. We need more Nigerians. And I'm so happy to know you. And I'm excited about what you're doing. So guys, please make sure you support. I want to do one final plug for you, plug. Tell me any forums that you're sharing or that you've created or do you know of that you'd like to share for parents with special needs kids. Plug.
So I think my forum is the best forum. So at Simone's Oasis, because there really isn't that much in terms of a community that exists that like ours. So you can join our WhatsApp group, join our community online, watch our videos on YouTube, everything. Just search Simone's Oasis and social media at Simone's Oasis. And I must say that there are other people doing great things. And if you need help, just reach out and I will put you in touch with the right people. We're there for you.
Okay. So if someone was trying to reach you right now, how would they reach you?
At Simone's Oasis on Instagram, Facebook, just DM. We get back to you within the hour.
Within the hour. That means she won't sleep. Except if it's after 9.
After 9 p.m.
After 9, forget it. Forget it. All right, guys, I'm going to give you, what about tools, apps? What else?
Oh, what else do I use?
Yeah, what else do you use?
Okay, so for me...
Before 9.
Yeah, before 9 p.m. Some of the things that kind of help me, some of the things that help me in my research are Pinterest. Pinterest is really good. Obviously YouTube. But then I belong to some WhatsApp groups. So there's a WhatsApp group that formed because we realized there was a group of us in Lagos and we're all special moms, so we kind of formed a group. So for something like special needs, yes, there's the general knowledge, right, that you need to access in terms of knowing how to learn certain techniques or even just understanding the diagnosis. But it's really important that wherever you are, you try and find people who are physically present around within your community, because they will know what's going on around there. But you can also act as a support, because especially if you're not getting support from your family or people are not really understanding your journey, it's really important to try and find people in your location that are, and that can't always happen in the digital space.
Right. So sometimes it needs to be physical.
Sometimes it needs to be physical. But I think, those are really good, accessible, practical points. For me, the practicality of Pinterest, really like learning things physically that I can do with my children at home. But the most important tool is just, and I'll call it a tool, is just love. Love really is the basis for everything. Whether you have a special needs child or a neurotypical child, whatever you have, every child will have a problem sometime in their life. But they need to know that when they come home, that it's a space of welcoming, it's a space of love.
And there's an oasis.
Exactly.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Simone's oasis.
Yeah, exactly.
A space of love. I love it. All right, I'm going to do a quick plug for you guys. Watch a couple of movies if you want to find out more about special needs, like Stars on Earth, A Boy Called Poe. Those are good movies. And that's the show for us today, Tonye. Thank you so much for coming. And I know it was a long one, but we just had a lot to talk about.
I could go on forever.
We had so much to talk about. So much to talk about. So you guys can listen to the extended podcast on everywhere that you get your podcasts. We are on TVC Entertainment Saturdays at 2:45 p.m. We are on digital. We are on social media. Just look for eDigital Africa and you will find us. Okay. And that's the show. Goodbye for now from me, your girl, Faith History. Toodles. Everything Digital is proudly brought to you by MTN. This is a Faith History production.